That we're going to be joined by the Member of Parliament for Sojaman and Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Ampem-Nyako right here in the studio. Honorable Ampem-Nyako, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, my brother.
I believe you're doing very well.
I'm doing very well. Thanks to God.
We thank God. Yeah. And what's the feedback you've had so far after the presentation of the budget?
Oh, the feedback is positive. We're receiving a lot of commendations. Okay. We are also getting feedback from people who expected to hear other things that they didn't hear, and that is all. That is what this is about. It's important we get feedback from people. We are building a nation together, and then we offer explanations and then work together. So, we have an opportunity in a mid-year budget. We couldn't have presented everything in one budget, so it's a process of building a nation. But before we enter into the discussions, I want to seize this opportunity to say hello to the good people of Sojaman.
As
you know, that is the ritual, and to let them know that tomorrow I will be in the constituency. I will be in Asikuma to commission a police station that we have completed. The police is sending personnel to start operating there. If you know that area quite well. The nearest police station is at Frankadia. And after Frankadia, the next police station is in Enum. So from that stretch, Finte, Osiebra, Asikuma, Osebeng, Labu, Nkakubeo, all these people are not served. And I recall when I was at DC, there was an incident when armed robbers attacked one of the big fish farms that we have in the area, I think West Africa Fish Farm, and took all their sales for that day away. They called the police. Frankadia police station did not have a vehicle. They still don't. Enum doesn't have a vehicle. So the only place that the response could come from was Akosombo. The distance from Akosombo to Asikuma. By the time they got there, the armed robbers had disappeared. And so I took a decision to provide a police station in Asikuma. It's a very fast-growing community. We started the construction, and then, unfortunately, in 2016, we left office. In fact, we built it to roofing level. We roofed it. For 8 years, that project could not be completed. We are back. And by God's grace, we've been able to finish the project. And so tomorrow I'll be there with the Honorable DC and the police commanders to go and commission. My friend and colleague, the Deputy Minister for the Interior, has promised to join us to grace the occasion. And I have also teamed up with a private company called Sanitopia. And we have constructed a modern toilet facility, a WC facility. I paid 50%. The company also paid 50%. We'll commission that as well. We should have commissioned the police station maybe a month or two ago, but I didn't want to go there again to commission only a toilet. So we had to finish the two and do the commissioning together. So God willing, tomorrow we'll be in Asikuma at 10 a.m. to...
I saw your police station yesterday.
Okay.
There was a payloader spreading aggregate in front.
Oh, you went there?
Oh, I saw it yesterday.
Yes. The assemblywoman, Fosti, and others are working hard to prepare the grounds for tomorrow's commissioning that they have cited. So my regards to the good people of Sojaman, particularly Asikuma people that I'll be visiting tomorrow.
Great. On that note, let's get into the discussions. And I think that following from what happened this week, where many people thronged the Elwak Sports Stadium, 6 of them losing their lives, I want us to start on the area of jobs, because in the budget you say 800,000 jobs will be created. I want to understand, where are these 800,000 jobs going to come from? Let's begin to break them down. Help us understand.
Thank you. And I want to express my sincere condolences to the families of those who lost their lives in this unfortunate and preventable, avoidable incident. It is just bad that a country like Ghana will experience this. But it comes to bring into focus and reality the painful issue of joblessness. And trust me, when I saw the videos of the numbers of young people who had gone there, one thing was clear. This is one opportunity that they see. There is recruitment into the military. We don't have jobs, so let's all take advantage of it. So if we had been able to give other opportunities, I'm sure the numbers would have been low. And so this brings that reality close to us, that the issue of jobs, the issue of unemployment is that serious. If anybody had any doubts about the severity of unemployment situation in Ghana, I think this is something that brings that into focus. Your question is, you see, we still believe that government alone cannot employ many of our youth. Mm-hmm. And so our focus is to provide opportunities for the private sector to flourish and be able to expand and employ many of our people. And so in our resource allocations, we are deliberate to send resources to areas that will create jobs. And so if you look at the theme for this year's budget, it's resetting for growth, jobs, and economic transformation. I was on a number of platforms and hinted that this year's budget will focus on jobs.
Okay.
And so in my boss's presentation, he tried to tease out some of the interventions and the direct and indirect jobs that they will create. That is not all that we expect. We mentioned that we are investing heavily in road construction. And this road construction will create a lot of direct jobs to people. We have estimated that over the period we are spending about 63 billion on roads. And that 63 billion, in our estimation, will create thousands of jobs. I mean, over 400,000 jobs directly. And that has started. If you go to my constituency, I benefited from one of the Big Push projects. The contractor is on site. And I mean, the contractor told me that he was bringing about 30-something workers from, Accra and other places, and that we should also make available at least 30 of our people who are willing to work directly. So, and he says this is just the beginning. As he, goes on, he will recruit more. So already about 60 people on one road. So, in fact, before we came to the presentation of the budget, the road minister brought us some World Bank metrics in any $1 million investment in road, the number of jobs that it creates. And so this figure we provided is based on that metrics. So that is one area. We also announced a policy in oil palm plantation.
Okay.
And that also is going to create about 250,000 jobs.
Hold on a minute. You've announced a project from, say, 2026 to 2028, yes. 6.9 billion that you're going to invest in oil palm industrialization. How is that going to create the 200,000 jobs? And I want us to understand, one of the few times I'll explain why I'm asking these questions. I want us to understand how the jobs will be created,
yes,
so we can all check, monitor, all the other suggestions that listeners can make to ensure that it works, then they do so. So how are you going to create 200,000 jobs with the investment of 6.9 billion in oil palm.
And if I can add, post the big push phase, the 400,000 jobs you are going to create, when construction is done, which other industries are going to absorb these people?
Great.
Good question. Now, to the question on the oil palm, we have done a lot of work on this, including site visitation. In fact, the finance minister led us to Benso oil palm plantation, and we went there to understand firsthand what is really happening. Aside what we had read and what we had been told, we wanted to see this. What we have been told and have verified is that 1 hectare of oil palm plantation can employ potentially 3 or more workers. And this is what Benso oil palm plantation officials told us. And that is what they are doing currently. And we have planned to invest about 100,000, to have about 100,000 hectares of oil palm plantation. And so per our estimation, if we are able to invest this 100,000 into 100,000 hectares of oil palm plantation, we will create a minimum, we are being conservative, a minimum of 250,000 jobs. That is 2.5 times the number of hectares that we are doing. And you see, when we went to this oil palm plantation, it was so interesting. A lot of workers. They even had people who had worked as picking loose palm fruits, and they have done that job for 6 years, 7 years. So minister asked them, are you happy doing this? Are you earning enough? They said, oh yes, we are earning enough. We are happy. There are some graduates who did agric in some of our institutions that are working there. And so we believe that that is how to go. A lot of people are thinking that, oh, you are spending so much on oil palm. Why won't you distribute this money to farmers, many farmers to benefit? We have tried that approach several years. Every year we buy fertilizer and distribute to farmers. We buy seedlings and distribute. We do this. It is not yielding the results that we need. We are not saying we'll stop doing that. Ministry of Food and Agriculture has their core mandate and their budget already. So they will continue to do the things that they've been doing. We have introduced this as a new focus. It doesn't mean that what the Ministry of Agric has been doing in the past will not happen. It will happen. But we are making special allocation to go into commercial agriculture, big plantation, to help all of us. And we believe that is the way to go. Look, one thing we also realize, and that is also when it comes to the implementation, the agric minister and their experts will explain this more. But there are outgrower farmers in BOP and its enclave. And what they do, in fact, a number of them came to testify to the minister and myself and the team that attended, that they have invested in this oil palm plantation.
Okay.
You have about an acre or 2 acres or 3 acres of land. You make it available, and then you plant this palm. They even allow the BOP to manage it for them. And every month, they said they earn a minimum of 2,500 cedis.
Great. Now, the point you make, for instance, if you look at the Benso oil palm plantation, the total area currently under cultivation
is 6,799 hectares.
That is true.
And they have 4,738 hectares with mature oil palms.
Yeah.
For purposes of analysis, let me take the 4,700.
Let's use the 6,000.
No, let's use the 4,000. Let's use the lower figure for purpose of analysis.
Use the 6,000.
Now, the current employees full-time is 500, with contract staff about 1,580.
Making 2,080.
Making 2,080. Per your analysis, 1 hectare should give you 3 employees. So if we use 4,700 and you multiply that by 3, or let's say we do your 2, it takes us to in excess of 9,000. But that's not the number that Benso has. So how sure are we that by just cultivating 100,000 hectares, we're going to be creating the 250,000 jobs that you talk about?
Before Honorable answers, if you use the 6,000, you are going to get the 3. Okay. But this is not permanent employees.
Exactly.
You only have 500 permanent employees and 1,500 contract workers. How does this create livable, sustainable jobs? How does this guarantee 400,000 livable, sustainable jobs?
Good. I started by telling you that we had people, and these are on videos, who testified, who told us that they've been picking palm fruits for 6 years. For 6 years, they've been doing this job and they are happy doing it. There are people who started by going into this palm plantations. They were doing it themselves with their children. Their children are now in universities and others, they are also aging. And so they told us, look, we are not able to do it ourselves now. So we cede it to the plantation. They bring their workers. They hire people, not permanent workers. They just hire people to come and work on the farm. They pay them. At the end of the period, when they sell, they give the owners the difference. And these owners who are aged and are staying at home are making, on average, 2,500 cedis a month.
Okay.
These were stories that we heard.
But that's not in doubt. So it is a huge the point is the numbers. You see, we're looking at the numbers. That's not in doubt. And I also, I come from Mpoho, and you go through.
You do?
Yes, I come from Mpoho, and it was fashionable in those days for families to have palm plantations for children. So
you can verify and corroborate.
I also do have
what
my late father did a palm plantation for us too. But the point I'm trying to make is that if I use the BOP numbers, it doesn't give me the estimates that you're giving. And it is also the case because years ago when Owusu-Efiri Yakoto said anyone who cultivates a hectare of maize would employ 3-4 people. And so because of that number, he had multiplied it and said he had created 745,000
under planting for food and jobs.
My argument was that I was cultivating about 3 hectares. And the number of people I had on the farm were not up to 10. Okay, they're not up to 5. Okay, so the point is that the numbers based on the BOP model does not support the expectation or the estimate that 100,000 hectares would translate to a modest, in your case, 250,000 jobs.
Well, we believe it will, because you see, we are trying to solve a problem. Mm-hmm. And we are trying to solve a problem of unemployment. Mm-hmm. We also want to use this to generate revenue. We can export it so yes, there can be other models that will employ less. But we are deliberate about this. Because look, it is not everybody that can be employed by government. That is not possible. It is important we make that statement forcefully. Today, public sector workers are less than 1 million, but they take about 47% of our tax revenue. Mm-hmm. The remaining 33 million people plus the 1 million public sector workers have to share the remaining 53% of our. Okay. So the way to go is to create opportunities for people to do this.
Winston, if I may, yeah, just land on that, sir. I was just going to ask about a bit of a clarity on the jobs, the total number of jobs that the finance minister talked about. He mentioned 80,000, correct, in terms of collectively what the budget was. 800,000 jobs. That includes the public sector, correct, for you this year?
No.
And that's where, of course, many.
Of course, you mean additional public sector workers.
The reason why I'm asking,
existing public.
Yeah, the reason why I'm asking is because some groups of nurses and teachers were at the doorsteps of the education ministry and the health ministry. The assurance then by your sector minister or the education minister and the others was that there'll be financial clearance and all of these individuals will be captured in the budget that will be presented, which the finance minister did. How come there was no provision for these individuals in the budget?
There was. In fact, we have already given those financial clearance, those who demonstrated and came to the Ministry of Finance. I received their petitions, and we have already given them the financial clearance, and they are being processed. The
minister was specific that they will be captured in this budget.
Yes, they have been captured in the sense that the allocation we have made for wages, for compensation in the budget includes them. Our initial plan was to come to Parliament with the budget and announce it. But we implemented it before coming to the budget presentation.
So they've already been recruited, you say?
I mean, we've given the financial clearance. They are being processed.
So how many of them will be recruited under this budget specifically? Because many of them are asking the question.
You see, we had some 7,000 plus nurses who were already working and did not have clearance. And I mean, they had already been recruited and were working, but they were not being paid. We had also some 7,000 teachers who were working and were not receiving salaries. Those were the people who demonstrated and came.
I'm not sure they were the same people, because that one, you had the Ghana registered nurses and midwives meet you on that over the payroll clearance and certification, which you claim was a baggage from the Eswal administration.
Yes.
I'm asking about these people who picketed your office recently.
Yes.
The promise was that they will be captured. How many of them are you taking on this
I'm
year?
telling you that those who picketed, and I met, they are the nurses and the teachers who did not have clearance. In some cases, their financial clearance had expired. And we had promised that in the budget, I told them that minister will go to Parliament in the next couple of months or weeks or so to present the budget, and then he will present their case, and so they will be sorted. Those were my words to them. And I'm telling you that subsequent to that, minister was in cabinet, and cabinet took a decision that it should be immediate. We should not wait and announce that in the budget. And so we went ahead to issue the financial clearance for them. And so the financial clearance was issued. And so they have been recruited properly.
And they have been paid.
I'm not sure if their salaries have come as at yet, but I expect that by the end of this month, their salaries should come. So those people have been taken care of. That is why we did not have to go and announce it again. We had made this public. We had announced it that the minister had issued the financial clearance for these people.
Okay.
Can we go back to the oil palm for a moment? Because I was very interested in, the analysis there. So at Ben, so we have 4,738 hectares being farmed currently by how many workers?
About 2,000.
About 2,000.
500 permanent, 1,500 contract workers.
All right. About 2,000 workers are farming 4,378. You are now going to introduce 100,000 hectares. Am I right?
Yes.
And they will be farmed privately. People will come and take up concessions in there and farm them privately for profit. How are you going to ensure that they will hire 2.5 people per hectare when government is already showing that you can you farm almost 5,000 hectares with 2,000 people. Why will private people working for profit go along with this your 2.5 people per hectare plan?
You see, government implements policies to achieve specific outcomes. We have realized that unemployment is our number one challenge today. And government is channeling resources to support private sector, to support us to solve this problem. So this is the model. And it has been verified, it's been done elsewhere. We must start using labor-intensive approach because we want to solve a particular problem. If we allow that, do this and do it your own way, then use your own resources without our interventions. But government is supporting you, and we are letting you know that this is our problem. Okay. This is the approach that has been verified and is working around. So help us help the people solve these problems.
Not something about the
job numbers.
The job numbers. Yeah. So and we're using Benso, the Benso model
as the standard.
So Benso has 4,738. They have outgrowers also of 1,650, and that brings it to 6,338 hectares. Now the minister's point that. And the Deputy Minister for Finance, Thomas Ampionku, makes that point, that they're expecting that a hectare would create, say, 2.5 jobs.
Or 3 jobs.
Or 3 jobs.
That's what he said.
That's what they told, 3, but they are a bit conservative.
Yeah.
So they're doing 2.5. Yeah. So the expectation then is that this number of hectares multiplied by, say, 2.5.
So if you are doing 100,000 hectares, you multiply by 2.5, you get 250,000.
Exactly. Jobs. So let's multiply 6,388 by 2.5. Now that gives you 15,970. But the model we are talking about actually has a total employee rate of 2,080.
So if you look at it very well, in the standard model of the Benso, which the minister mentioned, it means one person is working on 3 hectares.
Exactly.
Not 1 hectare employing 3 people.
So one person works on 3 hectares, and yes, Honorable, you want to?
Make I want to say that I'm happy you are interested in because you mentioned you are from Mpo, so and you testifying that your father also even support. Aside this, there are outgrower farmers who are also benefiting from this, and there are casuals, people who come in to work and go. In all this, you are only concentrating the numbers on those who are working on the farm.
No. The numbers here are for everything.
No, the employees, the permanent employees, 500.
Yes.
Then you have
the other workers, 1,580.
My point is that your focus is only on the farm. You are not considering the value chain.
Okay.
All the other, opportunities that will come with this investment in oil palm plantation.
Good. And you see the
traders,
value chain, the
people will sell in it, drivers, and all that. So it is a comprehensive approach.
We would make time. I'm told you'll come back again, so we'll talk more about it. But you make a point that should take me to value for money, because you say other models could be less, but you are deliberate, and it will take me to the question about value for money, because now you say you're setting up a value for money office. The question is, what is it that office will do that the Public Procurement Authority cannot do?
You see, even with the Public Procurement Authority now, there was a value for money agency called the Crown Agents.
Yes.
That were working alongside PPA, but they are out now. You see, the Public Procurement Authority would make sure that you are going through the right approach and processes and all that. They do not have the capacity to determine value for money. Look, this value for money office that we intend to establish must have engineers and all the
County surveyors.
Yes. To be able to value and set standard that a project of this nature must cost X amount between X minimum and Y maximum. So it is something that we need seriously, because the procurement abuses and inflation of prices is making us lose huge sums of money. So it is very, very important. But back, because we were on jobs,
yes,
we seem to have focused only on the oil palm.
Oh no, I mean there was a broader question. Yes, you can go to. I guess for this one because
there are other opportunities that we mentioned in the budget, and some that we did not mention deliberately, because I made a statement that we as a government will only be able to use government policies, government procurement to enhance job creation. We cannot go directly into, employing many people. The fiscal space will not allow that. So we have decided this VAT rationalization that was announced is a way to give back to businesses. Open up, give them space to be able to expand and employ more people. We haven't been able to cost this, but that is going to create a good number of jobs. Because look, this VAT was killing a lot of businesses. And so either they find a way to avoid it, or, so we are doing this to give incentives to you, to everybody, to be able to have some respite.
Okay.
We are going into garment, establishing about 3 garment factories, and the estimation is that should be able to employ some 20,000 minimum people. The trade minister tells me she will send me to a garment company factory in Tema. I haven't had time to go. And these are not for local production. They are for export, and the demand is huge. And so we are also focusing in this area. So government must use its policies, government's procurement, all that. Look, the president directed us to make available 200 million cedis immediately to purchase this food glut all over. And so that is being made available by next week. To buffer stock, to go and mop up all these food excess that we have and store. And what I like about the next directive is that all schools, all government, institutions that are buying food must buy from the buffer stock, buy locally. And we expect the Minister for Education and Director General for GES to implement this strictly. We must use government procurement to solve that problem. Look, if we are not able to do this and farmers' produce go waste, do you think they will be encouraged to produce again next year?
Yes,
they won't.
I like that point, but you see, the other question then would be how we're able to ensure this is done. Because you would remember this in 2019. At the time, we're having conversations about the need to eat local rice. The president at the time, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, had actually directed the National Food Buffer Stock Company to supply free SHS schools with 100% local rice. In fact, Hanan Abdul-Wahab at the time was talking about how he had, been supplying schools with 50%. So the next point would be ensuring that this is not just a one-off situation, because this is a policy that had been announced before. So how do we ensure that going forward, this is not just a one-off thing, and it's something that we are adhering to?
It is about enforcement and cracking the whip when you have to. You see, don't forget that everybody has a responsibility to play a role in making sure that all these policies work. That's why I mentioned the Minister for Education, the Director General of GES, and it will have to trickle down and the minister made this on the floor of Parliament. We will come with policies. We have to ensure that the policies are being implemented. And we have to crack the whip if anybody decides to flout it. But most importantly, it is important we let people appreciate the essence of this policy. It is important that we let headmasters who will be procuring food for their institutions appreciate that you are doing this because you are helping government solve this problem. If we do these things, if we consume made in Ghana food, we are keeping farmers the jobs here. And so if we are able to work together, and so you in the media, if you have cause to suspect that someone is flouting this, bring it to our attention.
Okay.
And we'll crack the whip.
And are you going to follow up this with a directive to all state agencies to buy made in Ghana for Christmas?
Yes.
Because when we do the analysis, over 600,000 public sector workers, if each person gets 2 bags of rice, that's about 1.2 million bags of rice, right? At 100 cedis per bag, that's 120 million easily spent on Ghana rice alone for Christmas. Are you going to send a directive to these people and ensure they do it?
You see, we have discouraged hampers by state institutions.
Not hampers. You know, they give out Christmas packages to their staff, not to external.
Well, then that is also another important call that we need to make. And you see, even though the directive specifically mentioned state institutions like schools, it doesn't mean non-schools can go ahead and procure foreign goods. It is implied. But now that you are mentioning it, I'll draw the attention of my minister. We should write to all state agencies that that directive applies to them as well. Because it will make sense to only focus on schools when other state institutions are buying sultana, rice, and other. I mean, we need to be deliberate about these policies. And once we do that, farmers will be encouraged to produce. Otherwise, we will have a bumper harvest in 1 year, and the next year, because of those disincentives, production will go down. And you see, if we are able to do this, if you look at what plays out in inflation, food inflation is the most important factor. And so if we are able to bring down food inflation, as has been happening over the period, we will be able to bring down inflation in this country, and the benefits will be there for all of us.
Let me take you to an issue that we've been discussing the whole of this week. Because on Friday, I was in Koforidua, and I met a lot of Ghanaians who walked up to me and complained about their locked up funds. They said they had, and they mentioned the names of the financial houses or non-banking financial institutions that their monies were held. So this time around, I also mentioned the names because that's the reality. People have complained. We have had pensioners saying their monies are locked up at NTHC, that's a state-owned institution, NDK, bonds, SDC. What are we doing for those people?
And before you answer that, in March, the minister said that we needed about 10.5 billion Ghana cedis to tackle these issues.
Yeah.
But they go through this budget and it seems to be silent.
I don't hear anything about it. What are you doing for those persons? A lot of Ghanaians have funds locked up.
You see, I am aware of the campaign you have started trying to drum home these issues over a week or so. I mean, and we commend you for that. But I want you to realize that since we came 10 months ago, we have started fixing the problems in the financial sector. We cannot fix all at once. We started by recapitalizing NIB. Well, we've done that. We announced, in fact, per our plan, we wanted to recapitalize ADB and CBG next year. But in the preparation of this budget, we indicated that we'll maintain a 1.5% primary surplus. Even as at end September, we had done 1.6. We have calibrated and realized that we have fiscal space. And so we brought forward the recapitalization of ADB and CBG. It is happening this year, even though it wasn't in the budget for this year. We have announced in Parliament yesterday that we are recapitalizing ADB, CBG before the year ends.
With 1 billion Ghana cedis.
Yes.
But how does that solve the problem?
So it is
the
a gradual. I'm making
forward?
a point. It's a gradual process. We are fixing those legacy problems that we inherited gradually. I wish I had specific answers for your questions. It is part, in fact, SEC and BOG have brought a number of proposals. We are working on them. Once we finish, we'll be able to tell Ghanaians through you and many other fora what specifically we are doing for the others. And so just continue to give us, because the legacy problems we inherited are many.
That's something you have you have proposals in front of you, and that's something you look at.
Yes, but we haven't concluded.
But interests
on
are
these
accruing.
things.
Interests are accruing.
Yes,
by the day.
I mean, at the end of the day, something must give. I mean, when we come to the determination and what we can do, of course, you don't expect that we should be able to pay all interest. And I mean, that one, I don't want to preempt what the decision will be. But I want to give you assurance that we are working on these things. It is a huge challenge. I mean, in excess of 10 billion, no single budget can contain it. We must save. We've started gradually. Now, NIB is on firm grounds. Very soon, ADB, CBG will also be, then we move gradually. So work with us and let our people have patience. That it is a genuine concern. It's a genuine problem. It requires us to work together to fix it. We cannot fix all in 1 year.
Last night, the minister spoke on PM Express about this. He is of the view that it's not government's responsibility to refund the proceeds of people's mismanagement of their private companies. So he actually says that this is not something that he's planning to deal with. You are saying that you are going to deal with it.
No, there are some institutions that are state-owned. I mean, people have their monies in some state-owned institutions. Yes, I support the decision of my minister. But what I'm saying is that these proposals are there. We are looking at, there is this SIC...
finance...
yes,
SIC Finance, yes.
These are state-owned institutions. I mean, yes, but there are some private ones that promised hard to believe rates and attracted people and all that. I mean,
but they were able to do that in spite of the fact that government institutions should have been regulating them.
I agree.
So is there no responsibility on the part of government to put
agree.
people right after their negligent regulation has created this problem?
You see, I will not contradict what my minister has said. But what I'm adding to what he has said is that we have a number of proposals before us. I mean, he even chaired one of the meetings in considering these things. So once a decision is made, I mean, you would know what can be accommodated, what cannot be accommodated.
Yeah, maybe for the sake of time, there's this public interest concern about defense budget spending. It's increased significantly by about 70%, and we're looking at a raise from 6.7 billion to 10.77 billion now. Retooling of the Air Force will be pegged now at 2.8 billion. The minister has announced to us that you'll be purchasing 4 new helicopters and 2 other aircrafts. What type of aircrafts are we buying, and what are the timelines for this purchase?
The procurement process will start in 2026, and it takes time for the manufacturing of these aircrafts for them to be delivered. In fact, for the aircrafts what I was told is that they will be delivered sometime in 2029 or late 2028, realistically around 2029. So it is a procurement process that is going to start now, but the delivery will happen later. The helicopters are likely to be delivered maybe in 24 months or sooner. The finance minister is also the acting defense minister. He's been to France and I think is Egypt and others to have discussions on these things. So they are not things that will happen in 2026, but the procurement.
But you're making allocations for them now.
We are making yes. I mean, because the process, you have to start, you make some commitment and all that. So
there's a forensic audit asking you to immediately retool the Air Force. Why are you deferring the purchase for the aircraft?
We are not deferring purchase of aircraft. We are starting the procurement. But as I said, once you place an order, it takes time. It's not the kind of purchase that they are displayed somewhere you can go and pay for and you take delivery. I mean, it takes time. And so once we are starting the process, we must announce and we must make allocations.
Do you have a fair idea of the firms or institutions that will be providing this service, since you're saying you're starting the procurement service?
No, I don't have those details. But, I mean, there are information that I'm sure can be made available. I don't have. At the finance ministry, we make allocations and the real implementations are done. Probably my boss will be able to give more details because he's also acting as
and maybe 30 seconds to address this for me. In terms of priority, that question will face you because this is a government that says it's cutting down significantly on quote unquote luxury expenditure. What would you say to critics who say, well, it shouldn't be part of our priority now?
If you are privy to security briefings, you would appreciate that we need to protect our country. We need to let our military, our Air Force, Navy, and Army be ready for anything. I mean, it is very, very important that we do that.
The two other aircrafts, will one be dedicated for the use of the president as a presidential aircraft?
Well, I mean, that is possible. I mean, the president can always use some of the military aircrafts. I mean, that one is not impossible.
All right, Thomas Ampem-Nyarko, thank you very, very much for joining us this morning. Kwame Sowu asked me to ask you a question, but the next time you join us, we'll ask you a question about your constituency. And your very good friend, Andrew Ejapa-Mensah, has a question for you on the IPPs, the restructuring. And we'll ask that question the next time you join us.
Yeah, I'm sure Mensah is happy with what we have done with the IPPs.
Thank you very much.
We inherited more than $1.4 billion. We have been able to
he's not
negotiate.
Happy. He's not happy with you on that.
Oh, really?
Yes, because he
negotiating
says you caused the problem.
Oh, how did we cause it?
They struggled and then you come back and come and do it.
So for 8 years they couldn't solve it, but we are solving it.
When you come next week, we'll discuss that.